So we just covered downsell offers. Now let's rock and roll into payment plan downsells. The main 5 as always, and let us begin. So here's how I learned it. 1 month in the business, I got 1 month's rent left. And I'd only made a few sales that first week. So halfway through the month, a prospect comes in and I really needed the cash. And so she said no to buying. And so normally I just would have given up, but I really needed the cash. And so I was like, all right, well, can you put half down? And she said no. And then I was like, okay, can you put a third down? We'll do 3 payments. And she was like, no. I was like, well, what can you do? And she's like, well, I can't do anything today. She's like, but I get paid on the first. I could put the whole thing down then. And rent was due on the 5th. And so I was like, okay. So I put $0 down today. And then I put her whole payment on the 1st. And it went through and I was able to pay rent and all was well in the world. Hooray. So that was my first real experience with learning how payment plan downsells worked. I got a little more sophisticated over time, which is what I'll share with you. So here's how they work overall. So payment plans work for any price tag. That's one of the nice benefits, but they are a gamble. They make money when customers complete payments. They lose money when people cancel before you profit or when people who would have paid in full take payment plans instead and then cancel early. So note, this is not selling a cheaper thing. This is selling the same thing with different payment terms. And so people reject offers when they cost too much today, not necessarily when they cost too much overall. This is a massive miscommunication and misunderstanding for salespeople and business owners. People saying no doesn't necessarily mean that you're mispriced. It just means that you might have to change the terms of payment. All right. It's usually about what they have to pay you right now, not what they have to pay in general. And so people mistakenly think that they need cheaper stuff, and this is not the best course of action, in my opinion. Payment plans get the most buyers to pay the highest price by getting them to pay less now in the moment, but pay full price or higher over time. So here are the 7 steps of a payment plan downsell. We reward for paying in full rather than punish for paying over time. This is a big thing that I don't see taught very much. And so I'm going to explain this one in depth because it's really important. Next, we're going to offer financing options, half now, half later, check to see if they want the thing, offer to split into 3 payments, or evenly spread the payments, offer a free trial. So let's give some deep down examples. So step 1, reward for paying in full rather than punish for paying over time. So if I take on the risk of a payment plan, because if you're a business owner and they don't pay you everything and you start delivering stuff, then you take on risk, right? So then what I do is I increase the price. Now, normally businesses do this by charging interest, but everybody hates getting charged interest. And so instead, what I do is I anchor my first price I present is the fully baked payment plan price. And then when I say, got it, would you like to save some money? They say yes. And I'm like, you can prepay and save this much money. So now them prepaying is a savings rather than getting penalized. So think about it like this. Let's say it's 10K and 12K. 10K is the paid in full price. 12K is the payment plan price. Instead of pitching people, because remember, anchors still work. Instead of pitching people 10 and then they say that no, they can't afford it, and then saying, okay, fine, pay me 12 because you can't afford it, feels tough. So instead, pitch 12. I know you're afraid of doing it. Don't be. The difference in interest is usually never enough to change a purchasing decision. So like if you had 10 and 20, then yeah, but most interest or whatever you usually, add on top might be 10, 20%. And so that's not usually enough to get into a different buying tier. So you present here, and if someone says yes, and by the way, if everyone keeps saying yes at that, and then you don't even have to mention the prepay, then it also allows you to incrementally step up and get kind of like a soft indication in the marketplace of whether or not you can sustain a higher price point. So I actually like to use payment plans as a great test for where I'm anchoring, and I can keep nudging up my price before I start seeing people freak out. So it's kind of like a testing price. So I would present 12. They say, I'm not sure if I can do it, or maybe they can do it, and they're great. Want to save some money. Now they prepay 10 and they're stoked. If they can't do 12, then it's like, fine. Oh, you don't have to do it all up front, but now I don't have to increase the price. They said they couldn't do 12. And then I say, cool, you want to spread it over time. And now it seems like I'm adding no interest to the original price. See how different that feels? Like, oh, you can't do 12? We can break into payments for you. But if, oh, you can't do 10? Then pay me 12. It's like, tough. Right? And this gets around all of that. So number 2, third-party financing, credit card, and layaway options. So third-party financing means another company pays me now or pays you now as a business owner, and the customer has a payment plan with them, the other party. So car dealers do this all the time. The dealer gets money from the financing company today, and the customer pays the financing company tomorrow. Most times, by the way, adding third-party financing in increases revenue by 35% on average. Note, it does take work to get third-party financing set up, but it is typically worth the effort. Credit cards. Now you're like, how is this third-party financing? I learned this from a master salesman, so I will just teach it to you as I was taught to me. this is insane close that this works, and it does work, and it still blows my mind that it works. Just ask, would you rather that I decide your payment terms or that you decide? Everyone then says, well, I would prefer to decide. And when they do, you just say, awesome, just use your credit card. That way you can pick whatever payment plan you want that works for you. If they say, well, shoot, what's the alternative to that? Then you say, I have an in-house plan, which is me picking the dates of when you got to pay. And that's usually going to be a much shorter time frame than what a credit card would allow you to pay it on. And so as crazy as this is, it's wild to me that this reframe actually works, but it does. So especially if you sell to consumers, like that reframe works. No idea why. I only state what I know, that it works. All right. The next one is layaway. This is actually a personal favorite of mine. Layaway means paying off the product before getting it. This is actually how they used to do in the olden days. When there was no credit and banks were all sketchy, people would do layaway. They'd go to the store, they'd say, hey, I want to buy that thing. And the guy would say, great, drop off money every Monday for the next 4 Mondays, and then I'll give it to you. And it was a very simple way. Now, the thing is that the customer takes on the risk, not the business. But in my opinion, I think there's a lot of really weird little psychological things with it, because if you make payments, it's like building up anticipation for a vacation. It's like the whole time, like, man, I can't wait to get this thing. I can't wait to get this thing. On the flip side, when you get the whole thing and then you make payments, you already got the value. And now every time you pay, you like hate them a little bit more, right? I mean, ideally that's not the case, but I'm just explaining my experience as a consumer. Some businesses can't do this. They can't do a layaway. But if you do have the opportunity or the option where you can delay starting for a little bit, whether it's a service or it's a product, having them start paying is a great way to do this. And the nice thing with layaway is it's as flexible as you want. And I'll tell you the story of how I learned this. So I had Alan, which was our software company. I mean, we still own 25% of it. But when we started the business, I learned that in-person onboardings led to higher stick rates and happier customers, and you want to get more customer feedback, et cetera. And so I would do a single company full-day onboarding or half-day onboarding. And I was on the phone selling that onboarding. Now, the onboardings, for context, this was an enterprise level sale. So it was like $20,000 to just be able to white label the stuff and then use the whole product, because it added a whole another revenue stream to agencies. And so I was on the phone. This must have been the first week or two. And I was on with these young agency owners. And they said, okay, 20, do you guys do payment plans? And I was like, yeah, sure. I said, you can break it up however you want. And they were like, awesome. So we'll just do $800 every other week. So that's what they said. And they're like, so with that being said, we good to come out, next week? And I was like, oh, no, you can't come out. I was like, you can split it as many times as you want, but you got to pay it off. And the moment you pay it off, you can fly out. And they just said, oh, all right, we'll put half down now and half in a month, and then we'll come out then. And so they wanted to delay my payment for like 6 months. Or more than that, whatever the math is on that. And then as soon as I said, oh, no, you don't get the thing until you pay, they were able to do it in a month. And so the nice thing with layaway is that actually aligns your incentives with the customers. They want to pay it off as fast as possible so they can get the thing. When it's the other way, when you're giving the value, they're incentivized to make it last as long as possible. This is why I like layaway, for the variety of reasons. You can close anyone. You can make the payment terms as flexible as you want. Don't take on risk. They have this kind of like working for it, earning it type feel. And for all those reasons, I really like layaway. Now, if they say no to all of those offers, I move to step 3. So guys, these are in sequence. So first we do the prepayment thing. They say no. Then we offer financing. They say no. We say, great. Can you do half now and half later? So then I say, when's the next time you get paid? If I'm doing a consumer sale, if I'm doing a B2B sale, I'd be like, when's your next inflow of cash? Or do you have some sort of, revenue thing? Do you have any big contracts hitting? Whatever. After that, I say, want to just put half down today and then the rest down when you get paid? If they can't do that, then I say, okay, well, what's the most you can put down today? And I like that question because it just cuts the core. But what's the most you can put down today? When they offer an amount, you say, great, we'll put that down today. And we'll put the rest when you get paid. Fair enough. So instead of doing half down, I might put a quarter down, 75% when they get paid. But all I'm trying to do is compress forward cash. Remember, money models, what we're trying to do with customer finance acquisition is get as much as we can in the first 30 days. And this payment plan downsell process is structured to do that. So I like scheduling payments off of paychecks since that's when most people get paid every 2 weeks. So this boosts 30-day profits more than monthly payments. So it's like half now, half in 2 weeks, and then a third in the next 2 weeks. So all of it, I get 3 payments in 30 days, which is great. And if they can't do those, I pause to make sure they actually want it. So sometimes people just keep saying no, and I'm like, hey, pulse check, temperature check. We still good? You still want to do this? And so this is how I do it. No payment plan is going to satisfy a customer who doesn't want the thing. So make sure the person actually wants the thing before putting more effort into selling it. So I might say something like, got it. So money's tight right now. Real quick. Just want to make sure on a scale from 1 to 10, how bad do you want to do this? Now, if they say 8 or above, then I keep offering payment plans and say, awesome, don't worry. We're going to figure out something that's going to work for you. If they say 7 or below, I say, why not a 10? And then say something like, you're right. I think we may have something that could be a better fit for you. And then I pivot the sale. And so then you sell something different, which this is actually an out point or an exit ramp that goes into feature downsells, which is two videos from now. So step 5, we offer to split into 3 payments. So remember, at this point, they've said 8 to 10, right, on the scale. I downsell from half down to a third down. So I offer a 3 payment option. So 1/3 now, 1/3 on the next 2 paychecks, or 1/3 now, and then 1/3 the next 2 months. If they still can't do it, then I offer to evenly spread payments. So if they still can't manage it, I evenly spread their payments over the rest of their service. So even if someone signs up for 6 months of service, it doesn't mean you need to have them pay you over 6 months. You can have them pay you in 3 months for 6 months of service. You want to still front load as much as you can. You're the one who had to pay the cost of, one, onboarding the customer, but also of acquiring the customer. So for instance, for Gym Launch, it was 16 weeks long. So for us in that business, I charged them each week 16 times in total. So that was me spreading it all the way out. If that still creates a problem, I moved to step 7. Now, to be clear, I dealt with very, very broke customers. Most gym owners don't make any money. And so this was so commonly the payment plan that ended up basically just having prepayment financing evenly spread, because I just kept getting so many no's all the way out. You simplify it. And at the end of this, I'll walk you through this, but fundamentally, this is how you map kind of the network of what your downsell process will be. And then over time, you tighten it until it's like, these are the highest likelihood stop points that my avatar tends to say yes to. So step 7 is you offer a free trial. Now, I offer free trials in a very special way. So I dedicated the whole next video just to doing this. But normally the sale ends here. I mean, you can't really get much lower than a free trial, right? So here are some important points about payment plans. What I walked you through was a 7-step downsell process. It's how I like to map these. Now, there's a different methodology of downselling that's simpler to understand and less to explain. It's called seesaw downselling. I like it a lot as well. It's simpler to explain. You can pick whichever one you want. And I don't like giving people options because people like being told what to do. But I think if you're watching this, then I believe in you and I think that you can make the best decision. So instead of just asking for the full amount, you say, would you rather have giant monthly payments or tiny ones? They'll say tiny. Then you say, well, it normally costs XXX, and if you prepay today, then you get a huge discount and 0 monthly payments. That work? This frames the payment plan as a negative and highlights the benefits of prepay. If they say they can't afford it, say the more they put down now, the lower their monthly payments. And so it basically frames all of the payments as, we want to make those payments as low as possible. So put more down today. So if you can't afford it up front, totally get it. We'll just adjust the down payment until you get a monthly rate you like. And the thing is that most people want low monthly payments. And so in order to get a monthly rate they like, they have to put more up front. So the seesaw downsell, I call it this because you're just saying, okay, well, the more you put down, or the less you put down, the more you have to pay over time. The less you put, the more you put down, the less you have to pay over time. And so this incentivizes bigger down payments to get monthly payments lower. If they still say no, you ask if they still want the product, just like before. If they do, you pull your chair to their side of the table and walk them through the options. That's how this works. That's the seesaw downsell. It's an alternative path that I felt obligated to at least share with you guys. The thing is I think with larger sales teams, just having very clear step downs. Sometimes seesaw downselling can get really weird payment plans. And so this is for bigger companies. If you have like a finance department, they might hate seesaw downselling but if you're owner operated, then you can kind of work out whatever payment plans work. And it is a more flexible way to make payment plans happen. The 7-step one is more like, it's ironclad. This is our first stop. This is our second stop. This is our third stop. And then that way your finance team can be like, these are the plans. They're in the CRM. We track them accordingly, whatever. And so it depends on the size of the business. Seesaws, smaller business, more flexible stuff. The step downs has more scale to it, in my opinion. All right. So payment plans have built-in upsells. So this is one of those really key, sexy things that a lot of people miss out on, and we've made a lot of money from it. So make periodic offers for the original paid in full discount during their payment plan. So we give a prepayment discount. What you can do is also extend the timeline that they can prepay and still get the discount. So if you're in any kind of B2B business, especially anything marketing or sales driven, if you're helping them make more money in their business, which the vast majority of B2B businesses do, then you can say, hey, no worries. You might not trust us fully today. Let's get a third down. We'll get going. And then I'll still give you this prepayment discount for the next 30 days. I'll honor it. So then at the 2 weeks and 3 weeks point, you can say, hey, do you want to go ahead and do that? Hey, we're about a week before the term expires. Do you want to go ahead and take care of the rest of the balance and still get the discount? If you've done a decent job, a lot of people are like, yeah, I'll take the savings because now they know you. And so we get a ton of people who take that prepayment if you just extend the window and you say it on the sale. You say it on the sale after they don't take, obviously, the first prepayment. And you do that after you've already closed the card. You're kind of telling them what the next steps are. Okay, fewer decline payments. So align payment schedule with paycheck dates. That should seem straightforward. When they get paid is when you should bill. That way you have fewer declines, fewer insufficient funds. How to make sure payment plans make you money. So after implementing payment plans, if you hadn't done these before, your close rate should increase. Duh. But if the number of paid in fulls goes down, you have a problem. It means you're actually getting people who used to pay you in full are now taking payment plans. So those are the big points. All right. Summary. Payment plan downsell spread the cost of a product by charging some of it up front and putting the rest into scheduled payments. Payment plans get more buyers like discounts do, but can also boost profits because they agree to pay in full price over time. It's kind of the best of both worlds. Payment plans only grow your business if they get you more customers and those customers actually pay. Seesaw downselling gradually shifts from paid in full to equal payments. It's a little bit more custom and it's a little bit more headache on the back end. If you have a small business, you can probably handle it. If you have a bigger business, it can be kind of a pain. Payment plan upsells, they get the original discounted price if they pay the balance today or up to X period of time before that discount expires. Align the payment schedules with paycheck schedules and you will get fewer decline payments. These are the 7 steps of the downsell process. Full price, then offer a discount if they paid in full. Step 2, third-party financing, credit card financing, and the layaway options. Step 3, split the payment in 2 and schedule on their paycheck dates. Step 4, ask if they still want the product. This is the off-ramp to a feature downsell. If it's 8 or above, you're good to go. If it's below that, I would suggest switching the features around. Step 5, split the payments into 3, schedule on their paycheck dates or monthly. Step 6, schedule equal payments over the entire duration of time they're working for you. Step 7, offer free trial in exchange for putting a guard down, which I will cover in depth in the next video. 2 quick pro tips. Number 1, if you're like, what do I pay salespeople on a payment plan? I have always compensated off cash collected today. Main reason for that is that requires more salesmanship and that aligns the interest of the salesman with the interest of the business, which is getting paid today. And if someone goes on a payment plan and then you do a great job and they continue to pay, that's more the success of the onboarding team, the delivery team, which means that you should be able to save any excess commissions on a payment plan for people on the back end if they're the ones making sure they're getting paid. So that's number 1. Number 2, if you have a recurring revenue business, people are like, well, how do you do payment plans in a recurring revenue business? You simply state the annual contract as the price. So let's say it's $3,000 a month for whatever your service is. You say, hey, it's $36,000. And if you prepay for a year of service, you get it for $30,000, right? If not, no sweat. And then you go into whatever your monthly payments at $3,000 a month. If with a recurring service, you might only have 2 step downs instead of 7 because you might not have all these kind of like evenly spliced things. That's more for kind of upfronts or defined end periods things. And with that being said, now we go on to free trials.